All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I want to take a break from talking about the raid. I live streamed with Ali. I did a video yesterday. I want to focus on the news that there's a pirate Galactic Legend coming to the game. Whenever there's a Galactic Legend, there's a level of excitement because it's a new GL. I gotta tell you that this is probably news that I'm not as excited about as I should be. I actually have a little bit of a sense of dread. There are some positives that I will take away from this that we will cover. There are some negatives. And then there's just some, all right, this is, Phil's opinion on why I think this is weird or not weird. At the end of the day, this game, I don't get to dictate anything. I wish I did. Then we'd have Wampa in every single raid, and he would be the greatest character ever. I mean, what the hell, why not, right? But I think, there is some of this of, hey, it is what it is. It's here. We're going to have to figure out how to, attack it, how to, make that fit into your farming plans. But I want to kind of talk about it because it is really big news that just kind of filtered its way into the raid. And I'm not a fan of that at all. I feel that there should have been another post kind of separately calling this out. And this just goes into the whole, I've never liked how CG does their communication, where we got Mace's kit, Depabalaba's kit, Ayla's touch-up rework was thrown into Mace's kit, and then inside of this raid, we get the information of the, Pirate GL and, the Marquee and the next Conquest unit after Smee, and then, when the raid's dropping gets put in there, a little bit later. It was a lot of information that I felt could have been spread out a little bit more, could have been handled better, and I do have to say that is always one of my beefs with CG at times, is that the communication is lacking, or they kind of throw it out all at once and you have to digest it over a week. So let's get in here. Let's thank the channel members for their support. Whether they agree with all of my opinions or not, I appreciate them just encouraging me to continue with the content, continue with the channel. Without you guys, this is not possible. I wouldn't be able to be in this position. I am humbled and blessed to be able to be in my basement creating content for you guys. So I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, comment. Even if you don't agree with my takes, please push the algorithm and comment. So thank you guys again. Let's get in here and let's talk about this Pirate Galactic Legend. All right, so it's, we're going to pull up the screen capture here, and we've got this little bit. So they talk about, the allowed characters, that it will be all pirates, right? And that pirates will be announced in an upcoming pirate era post. So right there, it's all right, if you left it here, you're probably okay, right? Maybe this video doesn't happen if they leave it right here. You can just say, all right, we know there's more pirates coming. But then they come down here and they say, I know pirates aren't available at the start, but when will pirates be available as the optimal full team? The first pirate Marquee is a leader, so you will have a full squad very shortly. Now, that's assuming you get the character to 7-star. But once the era is complete, so you think we're still in the Mace Windu era for another 2 weeks, and then the next era will be a 3-month cycle. So you're looking at 3.5 months now until the completion of this pirate era. So, I let that sink in. It's going to be 3.5 months until all the characters are in the game. Then, but once the era is complete, there will be 2 powerful teams for the raid. Notice they say 2 powerful teams, so those are going to be teams that are very good in this raid. One led by the next Conquest unit. So the next Conquest unit, spoiler, is going to be a pirate. And another led by the next Galactic Legend coming at the end of the pirate era. This, in my opinion, should have been a post on its own talking about pirates like they have in this era. I think throwing it here felt just like a cop-out, getting the bad news out now. We should have waited, right? What pirate could it possibly be? We'll talk about some of that speculation, but right away, what my thought process here is, you do have more information than maybe they're kind of leading on. You know that all of the pirates that are coming into the game that are marquees are going to probably be required for this Galactic Legend. So there's confidence there that they're needed for something, right? again, I go back to, tinfoil hat, right? Put the tinfoil hat on. This leads into the whole Bad Batch problem. Nobody really wanted to farm Bad Batch. Again, I know this is an unpopular take, but I don't think anybody wanted to farm Bad Batch because they weren't leading to anything. So pirates, if it's the characters from Skeleton Crew, which is my assumption, maybe some other ones mixed in here and there, but it's primarily going to probably be characters from Skeleton Crew. While I haven't watched the full Skeleton Crew yet, I have enjoyed what I've seen. It's definitely not generated the same level of interest as some of the other shows and other content that we've gotten. And so I feel CG is kind of reacting to that and saying, how can we make sure that this is a hit? Well, let's make it a GL. Now, one of the positives that's coming from this is that working on these next new pirates will give you a pathway to having raid teams. Think about going back to the speeder bike raid, going back to the crate dragon raid. Those raids had a Galactic Legend that if you worked on the GL, you got characters along the way. By working on Jabba, you got Chrysanthemum, Boba, Embo, you got Coors Light Leia, Skiffguard Lando, Greedo. You keep going down the list. You got one of the Tuskens, you got one of the Jawas. Like there were characters that you built up for Jabba that were included in this raid that you could use to boost your score intermediately before you got him. In the speeder bike raid, similar situation. You had GL Leia. Well, also included in there was Drogon. You had Captain Rex and Scout Trooper and Nisa were all very good characters. Again, I think Lando and Akbar and the Ewoks, right? Wicket and Chirpa were also, required for her that were very, very good characters in the raid. And so by working on Leia, you kind of made this progress towards this raid. You were able to, hey, I've got these characters. I don't have Leia yet, but I've built these other characters up and I'm going to be able to progress. So there is a part of me that says I'm glad we're getting another Galactic Legend, because when you think about Battle for Naboo, you had the Gungans, but they weren't really that great without Jar Jar. And then on top of that, you had the Queen Amidala team, where without her, Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan are good, but not great. You keep thinking about some of these other characters, and it's like they were, I don't want to say mishmashes, but they weren't really all connected into something. They sold Lightspeed bundles, but they weren't connected to other farms for someone who's potentially free to play to, get. And again, I do have to say something, right? Let's just be very clear about something. Saying the word free to play, we got to make sure we're only talking about people who don't spend money. If you have bought any kind of Lightspeed bundles, you're not free to play, right? Let's call it how it is. Let's make sure we get that out of the way. But all that said, I'm happy that there's a Galactic Legend in this raid that you can work towards these pirates, and that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's something that you're going to get. When you were getting Luminara and Kit Fisto and, Eth Koth or whoever up and running for this raid, even Queen Amidala, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon, that's a great team. But once it's there, you get the assault battle, which is nice, but there's no other thing coming. It's just them and you're done. So I do like that it is a Galactic Legend, working towards that. What I don't like is, who the hell could it be? Like realistically, when you look at look at just the pirates in game so far, you've got Smee, which is from Skeleton Crew. We've got Sana, we've got Nest, and we have Hondo, who Hondo of them all is the only one who I'm like, oh yeah, you're probably worthy of being a Galactic Legend, and he's but we've already got him. And when you look at the rest of the Galactic Legends in the game, one of the things that always kind of, if you look, they all kind of pair off with each other. Rey and Kylo and Rey, Lord Vader, Jedi Master Kenobi, Jabba, Leia, Jedi Master Luke, Sith Eternal. They all kind of pair, right? They're from the same movie. They're from the same time period. Literally the same movie, right? The fact we have 4 sequel GLs, don't get me started. But, it is what it is. So, and then we have Ahsoka. So a lot of us thought, okay, we're going to get GL Thrawn. Well, I don't think that Thrawn really makes sense because he's not really a pirate. So there's speculation that it could be Maz Kanata. There's speculation that it'll be characters from Skeleton Crew. Maybe they bring a character from Legends. But I want to give a shout out to Shitstorm for this idea. I want to give Shitstorm a shout out here. He's in my Discord. He's in a lot of Discords. He's a great guy, has a huge account, never shies away from the fact that he does. And he brought up a really good character that I think could be a pirate. And that is a version of Maul as the leader of Crimson Dawn. This would make a lot of sense when paired off with Ahsoka to some degree. Again, there's taking some liberties with the tag on, is he really considered a pirate when he's leading Crimson Dawn like he is at the end of Solo? Spoilers if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's actually a very fun movie. I very much enjoy Solo. It's underrated. But that is a very good... I was like, man, that's actually a really good point that you could use him as a pirate, and then it at least kind of pairs off with Ahsoka. But again, we don't really know unless the characters from Skeleton Crew kind of also pair off with Ahsoka in the grander scheme of this Dave Filoni movie and all these other things that are going on. So there's a chance that the character could pair off, and we just don't really know what that is yet. But I will say that if it's not a character like Maul, I'm not going to be as enthusiastic about it, because pirates are just not something that overly excite me. Not when there's still characters from expanded universes that we don't have, or even canon that we don't have yet. We don't have an Admiral Pride in the First Order yet. What about Snoke? We don't have Snoke in the game. You go into just even random Galactic Republic characters like Captain Panaka. There's characters we don't have, and of course, we better be getting some Kleia action from, Andor Season 2. We better be getting some of those, Bix and Brasso. There's a lot of characters that we need to be bringing into the game now. Dedra, Cyril. I could go on and on and on of people I want in the game from Andor. So, with that, it is going to be interesting to see what pirate it is. I'm a little bit torn on, not super excited about it. It is going to be a really interesting GL, because it's going to be the first Galactic Legend that, barring it continues, will have era battles available. And we've seen the era battles already transition. We've seen them move from, hey, when it's clones, you just need, 2 clones to get it. I mean, you can use one clone and get it done. Then they transition to the Jedi Vanguard, where now you need to have Jedi Master Mace Windu in the later tiers. So there is again, just another concern about this is that for the era battles for those pirates, will some of those later tiers with gear be locked behind having that Galactic Legend? I would not be, for the endgame people, that's a much bigger problem than for a lot of you where you're just going to get the shards. Now, with that said, we have no idea what characters are coming. We don't know how good this GL will be. We just know the time frame, right? We know that it's the end of the era. And, that era, again, that era is posted on the forums, right? That. I feel like Meathead, that was something that he did post. Yeah, here we go. Let's pull this up. So when you look here, here is the end, this journey guide, that now represents a, this right here represents the Galactic Legend. Because we are currently right here, right? We just got Temple Guard. We're going to be getting Depa next week, and then we get Jedi Master Mace Windu and the raid. So there we are so far, right? So we are here. So we get Depa, and then we get, era battles and, Jedi Master Mace. Then this is the next era. So we're going to get Marquee, era battles, Marquee, era battles, Marquee, era battles, Marquee, all that stuff leading to the next Galactic Legend, which that's where we're coming up with 3.5 months, because you figure each of these little things represents a week. Right? Think you get we had a week of Temple Guard, then we have an open week here, a week of Depa, and then a week of Mace Windu. We come over here, 1 week, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There you go. So 3.5 months. We're going to be getting some more information soon. I will make sure I keep you guys posted, but I did at least want to talk a little bit about this. And, you know, I am hopeful and nervous at the same time, right? I'm hopeful that... Whoop, jeez. Zeus and Arya, chill out. Man, my dog just went ballistic at me for thinking that, you know, we're going to be somewhat calm about this. I'm excited because it's a GL. I'm excited for the content. I'm excited to see how eras play out with a Galactic Legend. I am nervous because we have been moving at a breakneck pace. You know, when you look at this calendar here, right, these mini calendars, and you look on this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 new characters there. Then you add in Jocasta, and there's 17 new characters over that time period. And that just, that is a breakneck pace, right? That feels really, really fast. So, you know, we are moving really quickly, and my fear is after the Galactic Legend, will things calm down? Will we get a reprieve, or are we going to continue at this pace? Because if we don't, because we got a reprieve like after, I want to say after Ahsoka, there was a little bit of time between her and Bad Batch where we kind of just could collectively catch our breath. And I do think that would be nice, particularly with the raid, that if immediately after the Galactic Legend, we get a bunch of new stuff, it's going to be a lot more challenging for people to want to invest in it if it's not a part of the raid. So I'm hopeful after this Pirate GL, we get a reprieve. I'm hopeful after it that there's just all right, let's let the community kind of catch their breath. Let's let us catch our breath and start preparing for the next thing that's coming. So, guys, I hope this, you know, paints the picture of where I'm at with this Pirate GL. You know, we are, like, we're excited, but we're also kind of nervous, and we're a little bit disappointed because it would have been nice to get a GL that maybe that I would know. And who knows, maybe it's Maul, like Shitstorm said. Maybe it's Maul, and we're all going to be happy, and we're going to be freaking out. But there's also a chance that it could be a Galactic Legend that feels a lot like what Reva did, where, you know, when you remember with Inquisitors, not a lot of us were excited when they came in. Reva is one of my all-time least favorite characters inside of Star Wars, ever. I think that is one of the most useless characters they've ever added into. She's up there with Rose Tico for me in terms of just, like, useless character, doesn't make sense. And they could have done so much with this character. So I hope that I feel better about this Galactic Legend than I did those ones, or else, you know, it's going to be, like, begrudgingly unlocking them because they're good. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. What do you think of this Pirate Galactic Legend? Who do you think it's going to be? You know, there's still so much up in the air. So like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.